Welcome to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Badass Direct Sales Mastery is a podcast for rock star direct sales moms who are determined to make their business kick ass. Jennie will share her knowledge of effective sales and recruiting techniques, tips to get what you want from your business, and will interview direct sales professionals and leaders from various companies. The interviews will give insight to how these rock stars got to where they are and where they plan to grow in the future. And now, the direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger.
Welcome back to Badass Direct Sales Mastery. This is a bonus episode that we have here for you guys this week. As you know, I am Jennie Bellinger, your host, your direct sales dom, helping you whip your business into shape. And I have with me today, Deb Drummond. And Deb Drummond and I got introduced earlier this year, and we have really hit it off because we both love to help people in network marketing. And she has over 2 decades of experience as a professional network marketer. So welcome to the show, Deb.
Hey, Jennie. Thank you. So nice to get this done. I'm excited.
I am too, because I have really enjoyed every conversation that we've had. And I know that my badass crew here is going to want to learn some of your secrets to direct sales success. So let's start with, how did you end up in direct sales and network marketing?
Wow. So I know we don't have a whole lot of time here, but I am the product of a mother who did Tupperware. So when I was 8 years old, I got taken to these parties. Now, it was because she was a single mom, didn't have money for, a babysitter. But I got the advantage of sitting around and feeling what it was like to be like a lady and listening to things I shouldn't have been listening to. And while my mom was making some extra money because we needed it. So I had a really good impression early on about community and at that time, it was just women gathering in community, and it was fun and laughing and eating, snacks. And so I had that great experience. I'm sure that impressioned me because she again went into direct sales when I was 19 and I was in the music industry. And so me and all my cocktail waitress bartending kind of music tour people used to love and go get clothes from her because she had these great clothes that she was selling that was great for waitressing. And I used to just watch her make oodles of money. And I was like, oh, good on you. And then honestly, it was an epiphany. I am a holistic, background person. I owned a massage clinic. I literally was doing a massage and I just heard clear as day, what would you do if you had $1 million? Well, I didn't have $1 million, or I probably wouldn't have been asked that question, but I had 2,000. And I was then a mom of a young child. And I thought, I'm going to start an aromatherapy home party company because aromatherapy was my background. And so I started the first aromatherapy home party company in North America and had no idea the world and the career that it would lead to. But that's my entry point in. Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. And now one of your claims to fame is that you regularly are hitting number 1 in your company in different categories. And so what are some of the great secrets to success that you have that have taken you from, having your own massage, holistic health and wellness clinic to being number 1 in your company on a very regular basis?
Yeah. So it's funny to say that it was even a surprise to me because it wasn't, and I want to say this, not that you shouldn't do this, but I'm going to say for me, I wasn't going to say I'm an accidental number 1, and my number 1 happens to come in acquisition, right? So number 1. But I think that you should be very clear on your passion and very clear on your dreams. And I was really clear to the bottom of my gut that this was going to be the vehicle for the things that I really needed in my life. Because I've been with this company for 8 years, right? And so 8 years ago, I kind of had my back against the wall and no one knew it. So I think that I had that strong, raw desire. And honestly, there's a lot of things. I know one that you would relate to very much was that I didn't let myself have any excuses. I was talking to a young woman yesterday. She's like, okay, well, I'll have that meeting tonight, but I'm going to be tired. And I'm like, yep, you're going to be. Like, I don't try to fluff it up. You know what I mean? Right. I'm like, yeah, you're probably going to be tired, but it's going to be worth it. And so I think I really lived by that. It might be tired. I might be stretched. I might be this, but it'll be worth it. And so I kept the prize alive. And my prize I was going for was a 2-year prize. So I carrot dangled myself, which was one thing. Two, I only had 15 minutes a day when I started. Like I literally only had 15 minutes a day. I'm massaging people. Like in between, I would text somebody. I mean, you can't just stop massaging someone and start calling your friends. So it doesn't kind of work that way. Because I had my own other business for 3.5 years at the same time and single parenting 2 kids. So I think there was something about have to instead of want to. I didn't have the grace, but it was really longevity, consistency. And one of the key factors was getting over the fear of following up, which is one of my specialties, right? So I'm just kind of throwing some things out at you. You know, if we had long time and we're going to do more, I know at your amazing summit, but that would be, there's some key gemstones in there, like have to, not want to, consistency, following up, and recognizing that it's going to be uncomfortable, because when it's uncomfortable is when the paychecks happen, particularly in the beginning. So
yeah. Oh my gosh. Seriously. I mean, think about, well, we all hear the phrase, nothing great happens inside your comfort zone, right? All the most amazing things in life happen outside of your comfort zone, because that's when true growth happens. That's when we start paying attention to all those little things, because we're in new territory. We're doing something new. And so we're looking at all the little details. Whereas when we're in our comfort zone, we're not paying attention to those really important little things that sometimes should pop out at you, but don't, because you're in your comfort zone. You're comfortable. You're chilling. It's all good. So, you know, that stepping outside of yourself is really super important in any business. I don't care if it's network marketing, direct sales, or, you know, your own holistic clinic, you know, taking that step is really, really important. So I know you said you're getting comfortable with follow-up. So that, I have to say, is an area that just about every one of my coaching clients says they need to work on when they start working with me, is that follow-up piece. So how did you get started? What was that first step you took towards getting more comfortable with follow-up?
Well, I'm going to give you guys some cool secret stuff. So, and I practiced being uncomfortable. And what I want to say about being uncomfortable is that you're only uncomfortable for a little while. You're only uncomfortable for a little while. Do I still get like pitter patter in my gut 8 years later, number one in the company, multiple years, blah, 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 when I need to call someone who I have put in a position higher than myself? One of the major key factors that when I work with people as well is that, why am I putting someone? Because I think either they make more, they are more, they're this, they're that. I've somehow put them in a level higher than me. Key number one mistake, right? So don't do that. Don't do that. Like, look, I joined this company and I asked a friend of mine and they said, oh my gosh, I was going to ask you. I'm like, what were you waiting for? They were like, well, everything looked really good in your life and you looked really busy and I just didn't think you'd have time. I'm like, well, mistake for you, right? Don't do that. So I would say, don't put people ahead of you, above you. And like you're asking for their third child. My gosh, they're just asking them to try something or watch a video or whatever. I'm a real, like people go, oh, wow, you're kind of like a Janis Joplin. Yeah, I just get real. Like really, let's get real. You're not asking for a whole lot here. So it means a lot to you, but not necessarily to them. So take that energetic charge out of it. It's like when you walk into a store and you look for a sales lady because you need some help. Like, is she like, oh, that person's dressed better than me, I better not go help them out? Like, get really real. It's just like, take the charge of it. So the other thing is that I always say the money happens at 5, and most people won't go to 5. Right? Which is, it's when I say the money's at 5, I mean, the relationship solidifies at 5. I mean, you get comfortable at 5, you start to let your walls down at 5. Think of your 5th date. By your 5th date, you're pretty like sizing it up, So people usually, encourage themselves to the 1, maybe the 2, but by 3, they feel like they're annoying this person. And I think that's that can also be a cultural imprint, right? Depending where you're. Right. I mean, I'm sitting here in Canada and that would be like, kind of like we were bothering people, but in other countries, it would be like, you just got started. So, right.
Truth.
Right. So I also think, where's your culture and where's your beliefs kicking in and what's happening? And then we kind of work with that. But I really think that people need to realize that it's the long game. Yeah. Now I've signed people, I've introduced the product and I've signed them into my company within 30, 35 minutes. That comes down to experience, training, and verbiage, which is what I teach. But And I've had people that take 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter, but you have to, you have to be the conductor in that. The other thing is I practiced getting out of my comfort zone in every elevator I got into. Get into an elevator and just listen to the uncomfortableness that everyone's experiencing. Be the first to break the ice. So if it's during the day and someone else, and I'm like, oh, hey, are you self-employed as well? Or, and I don't talk about the weather. Come on, let's stretch ourselves, please. Oh, isn't it raining outside? Yeah, it is. But if they have a dog, I'm asking how old the dog is, or, oh my gosh, where'd you get that jacket? If it's authentic, if not, don't ask it. If it's in the evening, I'm like, oh, wow, did you get off work? Are you going to go home and enjoy yourself? And I'll tell you, even myself, who's been doing this for a long time, have to go through that 30 seconds of, they're going to turn around and they can't leave the elevator, people. They can't leave.
Right.
Right. So every time you get into an elevator or somewhere where the room goes silent, be the person to break the ice.
Yeah. No, I agree. One of my favorite lines from a movie comes from We Bought a Zoo, and it's all you need is 20 seconds of insane courage, right? And the most amazing things happen from that. And I've remembered that from the first time I saw that movie, and I happened to see it while I was in the middle of my own direct sales career, and I was like, boom. So from that point on, anytime I was like, oh, should I offer her the business opportunity? 20 seconds of insane courage. Okay, here we go. Oh, look, she joined. Oh my gosh, or, oh, she didn't join, but she booked a party. Woohoo. 20 seconds of insane courage. You're absolutely right. It's the first step of being comfortable. And I would agree. I think when people can take that first step, right, to be the icebreaker, to start the conversation and have it be about something that is not your typical conversation starter, is going to help make you more memorable for sure. I mean, it's just a great way to help build relationship. And even if nothing happens, cool. Now you have a new friend. But the other great benefit is that, then you can say, hey, let's connect on LinkedIn. Let's connect on Facebook, Instagram. What's your social media platform of choice? How can we connect again so we don't lose this conversation? I think that's awesome.
Well, the other thing is, I meet people, and sometimes you meet people and they're not supposed to be the people that you serve. They're supposed to be serving you. So I was just in a networking group, and I went in and I was giving a prize away from one of the trackers, and it was just this cool group of women, and they put us off in these sector rooms. Right. And so I'm on Zoom, which is why you need to go at least to 5, because it's not like that personal experience. Right. And I was in a room with this woman who was an amazing photographer. And I just got a hit, I'm like, oh, I want to talk to everybody that was in the room. There was 4 of us. Well, I talked to her. I happen to be walking across Ireland in a year and a half from now to raise money for women in music. She's from Ireland. I'm actually producing a book with somebody right now that we need food photography for. She's a food photographer. My son happens to be launching his first fashion company. She shoots fashion, and she lives in my friggin' city.
Wow.
So sometimes when you meet people, it's not about you getting them to join. It's not about you getting them their products. Maybe it's a connection for you, and you're in the receiving end. Be open to that, right? Yeah, that's how it works. It's not all about us getting us. And that probably would blossom to an amazing relationship. Now, who knows down the road what that person could be or who it bring to my table in my direct sales business, but just be open that it's a reciprocal experience.
No, absolutely. It's definitely a two-way street. And it may truly be a two-way street that you start handing this photographer all of these, great referrals for her. And then she's going to turn around and possibly do the same for you because wow, you just gave me a lot of business. How can I repay you? Right. And that's when you get to make some of those fun asks. So you very subtly dropped a hint that there's a tracker that you use that has helped you build and grow your business. Tell me a little bit more about that tracker.
Yeah. So, a lot of people say, how do you get number one? How do you get number one? How do you get number one? Right. And that's a little in-depth conversation. And you and I both know that I coach people on that specific thing. And then if they need more, then I'm a big believer in coaches in all areas. So that's my forte. And so I've had a follow-up system clearly that I've used for a very long time. That's brought me success. So instead of keeping it just to my team, which they love me and appreciate me, it was time to take it to the world and share it with everybody else. And so it is a gorgeous tracker. It's a book. It's like it's like a planner. You know how we have day planners?
Sure.
So we have planners and we have trackers. And this tracker that I have, and you know that there's a planner that's come and a planner to be coming for next year. But let's talk about the tracker. So the tracker is where you put every single prospect and lead. And so when I talk to my team, or I talk to someone new, or I talk to someone that I'm coaching, or I'm talking to whatever, I'm like, so where's your leads? And they're like, oh, they're on Messenger, they're on Instagram, they're on TikTok, they're in my daytimer. I said, if I was to coach you right now and say, go grab all your leads, could you? And they're like, no, they're on my Messenger. And they've got little scraps of paper, or they've got one book that they've tried over and over again, or they've got sticky notes on their computer, or they've got, it's in their daytimer and, they didn't call them that day, so they forgot to move it over. So this is a book that you write all of your prospects. I mean, there's 100 spots. This is not 10, it's 100. So you exhaust your brain, everybody that you know, and then you get to move them to the next level in the tracker. So when that conversation happens, so let's say me and you, so I'm like, wow, me and Jenny are going to do some stuff together. I don't know what we're going to do yet, but I know I might be interested in her. And so then it goes from that initial, I've put your name on a list, to now I've had a conversation with you. And I'm going to see, and it tracks, where did that conversation come from? Did it come from Messenger? Did it come from email? Did it come from a referral? And you write in that. And then you got spots for their information. And then those highlights like, oh, this cool's really cool. This chick's really cool. Her hair is purple. She lives here. She has a podcast. You know what I mean? She's a coach. She has a summit. I write all the cool stuff. I highlight. Now it's got 12. You actually have 12 spots that you can put for follow-up. 6 are strong and solid, because when we get to 5, at some point, if I followed up with you 2, 3, 4 times, now you're going to go to the next section in the book and you have a number. Let's say you're number 1. It's number one. You're going to go to now I've got 2 pages for you. And most people don't realize that particularly if you're going to be building it down, even if you join my company, Jenny, I'm going to have you in there because there's some initial stuff. And then I actually move you over to another tracker that's specific for my business. So these are my overall every prospect. And once I move through that process, then I have another tracker that goes, wow, she's become a customer. I have another tracker that says that she's become a brand partner. And so I literally can get up in the morning with my planner and my tracker, 2 books, go to my desk, put it in my purse, go to the office, go to my friend's house, go on trips, whatever. I'm not forgetting anything. And when I'm coached, I can grab 2 books. The efficiency in that and the courage that comes from just knowing there's a spot for the next one, then the results have been off the charts for people. Off the charts, because not only does it clear your mind, but it actually literally moves you to that next follow-up, because you finished the block, you checked off the one before.
Right.
And so it might sound simple, but it's those small things that take you from, the 500 to the 1,000. It's the small things that takes you the 1,000 to the 5. It's the small things that take you from the 5, the 5 figures to the 6 figures to the 7. It's not a revelation of everything you do. It's tweaking and tweaking and tweaking. And this got me to where I am. So I think it's kind of good.
I think it's amazing because it simplifies this process that I think many people have turned into this big, huge monster, this Goliath that they are facing every single day of, I have to do all the follow-up. And now instead it's like, no, I just have everything right here and I can move them from here to, like, they know the process to follow in the tracker because it just walks them through, start here. And then the next step is to do this. And the next step is to do this. I think it's absolutely brilliant that you're able to move people through a process like that just very simply allows people to take care of those 5. So I want listener pay attention right now. Earlier when she was saying all it takes is 5, get through the 5, what she's talking about are the 5 touches, the 5 conversations, the 5 whatevers. It's not the 5 asks every time, because it's about staying in contact and being in relationship with someone 5 times when all of a sudden the relationship clicks, when all of a sudden something else clicks and they go, oh, that's what you do. Yes. Can I buy the thing, please? Or, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think people may have heard this or not have heard this in any sector. So please don't feel that you're it's special in network marketing that you get away with calling people twice. In every sector, over 80% of the calls or over 80% of the sales or the yeses, as you're calling them, happen in the 5 to 12, usually the 8 to 12. So it could be a video, it could be a conversation, it could be a brochure they saw. Those all count. But it's like you having that, like, that's where the big stuff is. That's where those people that are walking across the stage, you're like, what do they do any different? They just do what you do. They just do it to completion. They just do so any industry, you're looking 8 to 12.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, I'm a part of a business networking organization that is literally global. And this is true whether you sell mortgages, insurance, painting services, it doesn't matter. It's multiple conversations before somebody goes, okay, yes, I'm ready to hire you to paint my deck, do my landscaping, do whatever, unless they've got that word of mouth referral. And then it does help shorten the curve. But if you're building a relationship from the start, it's going to take 5 to 12 marketing touches, marketing, not selling, marketing. Those are two different conversations right there. But it is going to take that. You're absolutely right. I see this across every industry, every single one of them. So, and I think that also helps people in processing this as a business of their own. Because now they can say, oh, well, if this is true for the mortgage person, if this is true for the painting company, then it's going to, that makes it a little bit easier to see your business as a business.
Well, as for someone that, like, when you introduced me as a network marketing professional, I really, 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 really believe in this industry. Not only because I was the daughter of it, and my mom wasn't a big income earner. It was social and some extra, what they called back then, apron money. Get that? There you go. Now we're going archaic. But I really believe that a lot of people leave because they don't have success and they think it's about them. It's like, it didn't work for me. And I think that a lot of people join, and you're joining for free product or you're joining for this, and that's freaking cool. But most people coming into the industry don't have that business experience. Their skin's not tough yet. They don't understand that. And so for me, this is really a tool to make it simple, easy, and understand it's not you. Like, yes, it's your business and you're the one making that call, but you're in a group of people that have the same odds and the same. So, stay in this industry. Let's make it as simple as possible. And if you can just grab one book and look in that one book, and then your coach or your upline or whoever can say, okay, where are we at with that person? Then they can coach you to that person, to that person, to that person. Like, why do I coach people? Because the last 20, 30 years of my life, I've been with coaches. Like it's always good to have someone that knows more than you. And so this is a big part of for me, just don't leave the industry because you're not having success in your first while. We have a saying, be here a year from now. Like, be here a year from now, because these are the techniques and the things that you need to learn to grow. So if we can make them simpler, easier, and this will make it faster, straight up, you'll have faster success. There's no way. I mean, this is what I use. This is the straight up, you will have more success. You will close more sales. You will have more people join your team because you will be consistent and you will be prepared.
Absolutely. And I think that's just a brilliant thing, because so many people just think that, especially they've been sold the bill of goods that, oh, don't worry about it. This product sells itself. You really don't even have to sell anything. It just happens. No, it doesn't. There are so many steps that lead up to the product selling itself. And I'm putting air quotes around that look a little bit more like work. And I mean, how many of us have heard the quote, the dictionary is the only place where success comes before work, right? There, we're a business. So that means there is going to be some work going into it. But when you can simplify that work and keep it in this very easy place to track everything, right? To be able to have an idea of who you're talking to next. What are you talking about? How are you going to reach out to them? All of those things. That is such a great easy way to simplify this work that we're doing. So Deb, how is it that people can now, if they're intrigued and they're going, ooh, I want a simple process. I want a tracker. I want to know, where can I get this? How can they get a hold of this tracker to help move them further in their business?
You know what? You can email me personally. So it's really simple. My name's Deb. So it's Deb, D-E-B, at Deb Drummond, which is DebDrummond.com. Super simple. Deb at DebDrummond.com. Let me know that you came from Jennie's show. Just use the word summit, put summit in the subject line, or it's like subject, and we can get you little extra special, and just say that you're interested. And honestly, I don't have any issue giving my number. The private line to call me is 604-655-4698. I respond really well to texts, but you can always call and leave a message. Text is first, email I'll be checking, and then you can leave a message and I'll get back to you because it comes through as a text. So that's awesome. And you can have one of these on your desk in 3 to 5 days. So
that's amazing. So again, for those of you who are regular listeners to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery podcast, you guys know how to grab those show notes. Just grab your phone, as long as you're not driving, grab your phone, click on the episode, and we will have Deb's email as well as her cell phone number so that you can reach out to her and let her know that you were listening here on the show. Make sure you tell her Summit. And the reason she's talking about the Summit is because Deb is also going to be one of our speakers on the March Badass Direct Sales Mastery Summit. And she's going to be talking about how to get to number one. She's going to give you her process of how to get to number one in your company. That's amazing. I'm so excited for that. So make sure you reach out to Deb, get started on this tracker, because if you've already got the follow-up piece taken care of, which is one of the biggest pieces, I think, in getting to number one, then all the other pieces that Deb teaches you at the summit are going to be so much easier to implement because you've already got the follow-up in place. So reach out to her now, get this started before the new year. So that way you are in the habit. Take that time between Christmas and New Year's where everyone has that tendency to sit on the couch and just blah, and instead move all of your contacts into that tracker and get started on this as soon as possible. Deb, you are super busy, and I so thank you for being here to share this information with my audience.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for inviting me. I love it. I'm looking forward to where our relationship goes, because I think we're past the 5. So, we're going to have some serious success together, and we're going to have some serious fun. So thank you so much. It's an honor to be able to share with people. I think that's it says something. It says something. Thank you. Yeah.
No, thank you, Deb. I really appreciate it. And so now, Badass Crew, you know how this goes. Stay tuned, because there's another badass episode on its way.
Thanks for listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Why are you waiting to go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com? Don't make the dom get her whip. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with another rock star that you know in direct sales after you subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any future episodes. You can also check out the show notes for links and any contact information mentioned in today's episode. We'll see you next time.